97, let's get to your open line calls. Ray is in Romulus, and he's on 97.1. Hello, Ray.
Hey, Doug. How you doing? Hey,
good, Ray.
Listen, you being a former basketball player, I'm quite shocked that you made those comments about Cade Cunningham. If you take a look at it, we probably lost 2 to probably 3 games in the fourth quarter, having a fourth quarter lead, but just turning the ball over on just petty dribbling acts by Cade Cunningham, and also Ivy. So what I'm trying to say is this. We should not continue with that experiment that you mentioned, because Cade has already proven that he's not a point guard. He's not a ball handler. Ivy is not a ball handler. It would be so nice to see this team acquire some type of point guard, because there's no true point guard on this team to distribute, because we all know Cade can score. We all know that Ivy can score in transition. But when it comes down to Cade handling the ball and trying to dribble between his legs and getting it taken away, or Ivy running at 100 miles an hour and then jumping in the air and just throwing the ball, who knows where it ends up at. I've seen that story so many times. So we should not experiment during the season and lose games while trying to, see what's going to happen.
Well, I guess it's a different way of how you want to go about it. And I'm not debating that there hasn't been issues, because clearly there have. Ray, for me, I keep giving them the ball because I want these guys to be able to develop that. It'd be awfully useful if they do, and I think they can. Guys get better. They're still both in the infancy stages of their career. And so, hey, if you're about winning a game, the next game they play, you might be right. But I'm not about that. I'm taking the 30,000-foot view and playing the long game with them.
But understand this, Cade has never been a good assist-to-turnover ratio guy, ever. And so how is he going to now do it in the NBA when you got the best athletes in the world?
Because he's getting better. Oh, see, I'm not closing the book.
Turnovers?
I'm not closing the book on that. Yeah. I mean, a couple of years ago they said he couldn't shoot threes, and he's 8% better from three than he was a couple of years ago.
But Doug, but do you agree that it would be better if we had a point guard that can distribute the ball to these guys?
If they did and could acquire that and needed to win a game, yeah. But I'm going to continue to try to develop them until they have that.
And lose these games in the fourth quarter, because there was no way in hell we supposed to have lost that game against Miami.
Ray, well, they didn't.
I know, but come on.
They didn't lose the game.
That was a stroke of luck.
Was it a stroke of luck that Harrell got on the heater too?
That who?
Tyler Hero got on
the heater.
No. Tyrell has shown that before in previous games.
So
he has shown.
You'll dismiss that. They had a 9-point lead late in the game, and you'll say there was no luck in that. But there's luck that the Pistons were able to pull it out.
But he has proven to be able to make a streak of threes. Tyrell has done that. That's nothing new for him.
Well, again, if they're trying to win a single game, Ray, you bring up a point that I would agree with. I'm not trying to win a single game. I'm trying to make this team as best they can be. Like, if you look, you sound like you think Cade is defined, and this is who he is going to be the rest of his career. But just look at his assist numbers. This is in his career. I brought this up. 5.6, 6, 7.5, and this year 8.3. He's getting better at that aspect of the game. Now, his turnover numbers are high this year. I would agree. His shooting throughout the course of his career, 31, 28, 35, 34.3 right now. Better than it was earlier in his career. Parts of his game can get better, and I am hoping that the turnovers are part of it, and that I would stick with it. Obviously, you wouldn't.
Now, if there was a plus point guard that became available on the market, should they consider it? Absolutely, they should consider it.
The question, too, is, guys, like, you got to ask Bickerstaff or what you want yourself is, do you want Cade working on this stuff only in practice, or do you want to try to get better during the game, right? Yeah. Because if that caller, I forgot his name, but Ray, I think he wants the Pistons to win games now, which I totally understand. So maybe in his mind, it's like, listen, don't do it during the game because he's just not good at it enough yet, because they clearly have to be working on this in practice. When do you let him do it in the game, though? Because how are you going to know if he's gotten better or not?
Yeah, I guess it's just different philosophically as to what you're trying to accomplish. And I understand his frustrations.
Like last night in the Duke-Kentucky game, for those that stayed up, Cooper Flagg, might be the number one pick overall. In my opinion, he would be, but still early. But one of the best players in the country. Last two possessions
Did you
of the game.
just say he might be your number one pick? You've been talking about him for 2 years.
Well, might for other people. For me, yes. But for the last, he was great the whole game. The last two possessions, turned the ball over. I mean, but he's going to get better. He's not a finished product.
Yeah, I mean, he's a college kid, but I still.
Cade's like, what,
I was going to say, Cade's not that old either.
When
he says
23.
Yeah.
When the caller says he's never been able, how long has he been trying to do it? Because he's not that old.
I guess I just don't think of him as defined yet. And if you don't think he's ever going to develop that, then yeah, I would subscribe to his theory to move on. I'm not there yet. God, I hope he's not done developing.